그렇게나 말하고 싶어. Say I love you. 쉬고 싶은 밤에도 바쁘던 아침에도 그대 내게 쉴 곳을 마음속에 마련해요. 내가 더 잘할게요. 그 맘을 내게 나눠준다면 No, I believe 라라라라 부르는 노래 자꾸 찾아 헤매이던 그대와 my 내 사랑 빛나요.
Perhatian bagi para hadirin, anda diminta untuk mengambil gambar sebagai bukti untuk mengisi Google Form yang akan diberikan pada akhir webinar nanti. Para peserta juga diingatkan untuk mencatat segala info-info penting yang akan disampaikan oleh panel-panel kita sebentar lagi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam satu Malaysia dan salam Pematera 7. Mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempua. Salam sembah pembuka bicara. Selamat datang untuk semua. Berjumpa kita pada hari ini di bawah satu webinar forum akademik yang bertajuk Strategi Pembelajaran Pemangkin Kejayaan di bawah anjuran Esko Akademik, Unit Persatuan Mahasiswa Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia Pematera bagi sesi 2021-2022. Pertama sekali, saya ingin mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi perhargaan kepada Penasihat Utama Pematera, Dr. Iskandar Yahya, Penasihat Kedua Pematera, Dr. Seri Mastura Mustaza, para panel jemputan, Barisan Majlis Tertinggi Pematera serta para hadirin dan hadirat yang dihormati sekalian. Duduk sekawan gadis jelita, buat santapan untuk pahlawan. Tampillah tuan, kami meminta madah ucapan kata aluan. Tanpa membuang masa, majlis menjemput yang dihormati Saudari Nurin Adriana binti Andri Elias Muhammad Adli yang di-Pertua Pematera sesi 2021-2022 bagi menyampaikan ucapan alu-aluan. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Assalamualaikum, boleh dengar ke suara saya?
Boleh.
Okey, terima kasih saudari pengerusi majlis yang berusaha Dr. Iskandar Yahya, Penasihat Utama Pematera, dan yang dihormati Dr. Seri Mastura Mustaza, Penasihat Kedua Pematera, para panel jemputan, barisan kepimpinan Majlis Tertinggi Pematera dan juga Exco Pematera, serta para hadirin yang dirahmati sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam satu Malaysia, salam Pematera Tuyu. Bersyukur kita kehadrat ilahi kerana dengan izin serta limpah kurnianya dapat kita bersama-sama hadir di dalam program webinar Forum Akademik Strategi Pembelajaran Pemangkin Kejayaan. Saya selaku Wakil Persatuan Mahasiswa Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia sesi 2021-2022 ingin merakamkan jutaan terima kasih serta mengalu-alukan kehadiran para hadirin dalam menyertai webinar akademik pada malam ini. Semoga kehadiran para hadirin dapat memeriahkan dan menceriakan majlis pada hari ini, dan saya juga ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada ahli jawatan kuasa kerana dapat menjayakan program kita pada malam ini. Syabas saya ucapkan, dan saya juga berharap para hadirin dapat memberikan sepenuh tumpuan dan juga mencatat perkara penting yang akan disampaikan oleh para panel jemputan kita yang hebat lagi berpengalaman pada malam ini. Saya berharap juga agar program ini menjadi motivasi serta batu loncatan kepada kejayaan anda pada semester ini dan juga semester akan datang. Sekian, terima kasih.
Okay. Ribuan terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Saudari Nurin Adriana di atas ucapan alu-aluan sebentar tadi. Kini majlis akan diteruskan lagi dengan agenda utama kita iaitu forum yang akan membahas tentang strategi pembelajaran pemangkin kejayaan. Tapi sebelum saya memperkenalkan panel jemputan kita pada hari ini, izinkan saya untuk jelaskan sedikitlah apakah forum kita pada hari ini. Okey, sebagaimana yang kita tahu, satu dunia telah pun dilanda satu pandemik iaitu COVID-19 yang telah menyebabkan pelajar ni terpaksa beradaptasi dengan sistem pembelajaran yang baharu. Tapi, jadi bagaimanakah kita sebagai pelajar, kita nak mengenal pasti strategi-strategi ataupun tips-tips pembelajaran yang berkesan untuk kita gunakan pada masa hadapan. Sebab itulah pada hari ini kami daripada Pematra telah menjemput para panel yang lebih arif untuk membahaskan perkara tersebut. Orang cakap kalau tak kenal maka tak cinta. Tapi kalau dah kenal jangan jatuh cinta pula. Mari saya perkenalkan panel jemputan kita pada hari ini. Panel pertama kita dikenali sebagai Gan Jianji. Beliau merupakan pelajar di bawah Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina di bawah Jabatan Kejuruteraan Elektrik, Elektronik dan Sistem. Beliau juga pernah diiktiraf sebagai ikon inovasi Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia dan pernah dilantik sebagai Duta Pelancongan Jepun atau dikenali sebagai Chiba Prefecture. Tengok tu, nampaknya panel pertama kita pada hari ini bukan calon-calon orang je. Okey, antara pengiktirafan tertinggi beliau adalah sebagai penerima anugerah Naib Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia pada Convocation UKM yang ke-48. Okey, sekarang saya sudah pun memperkenalkan panel pertama kita pada hari ini. Selamat datang saudara Gan Jianji ke webinar kita pada malam ni. Apa khabar saudara? Saudara sihat ke?
Hi, good evening everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Yeah. Thank you moderator. Asma.
Okay, you're welcome. Boleh ke kalau saya nak minta lah panel kita ni untuk lambai-lambai sikit dekat peserta kita ni?
Hi.
Okay, seterusnya. Baik, terima kasih saudara Gan Jianji. Seterusnya, kita akan beralih kepada panel kedua kita, saudara Gabriel Tan Hon Zuan yang merupakan alumni Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina juga di bawah Jabatan Kejuruteraan Elektronik dan Sistem. Panel kedua kita ni merupakan mahasiswa yang sangat aktif ya. Beliau telah menyertai Innovate Malaysia Design Challenge Technology Track Microsoft dan mendapat tempat pertama dalam pertandingan tersebut. Nampaknya panel kedua kita ni pun bukan orang biasa-biasa ya. Okey, seterusnya beliau juga pernah dianugerahkan sebagai tokoh pelajar Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina pada tahun 2020. Okey, sekarang saya sudah pun memperkenalkan panel kedua kita, saudara Gabriel. Selamat datang ke webinar kita pada hari ini. Saudara sihat ke?
Hai.
Sihat ke?
Oh, baik.
Okey. Kalau boleh saya pun nak jugalah kalau saudara Gabriel nambah-nambah sikit dekat peserta kita ni. Okey. Sidang hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, berkenalan sudah, bertanya khabar pun sudah. Jom kita mulakan agenda utama kita pada hari ini. Tapi sebelum tu, saya perasan ada seorang peserta kita ni, Muhammad Ashraf ni, dia angkat tangan. Kenapa tu? Ada apa-apa masalah ke?
Maybe dia tengah lambai tangan. Hai.
Oh, okey. Maafkan saya. Saya akan ada masalah. Okey, tak apa. Kita sambung forum kita pada hari ini. Okey, sidang hadirin yang dihormati sekalian. Okey, jom kita mulakan forum kita pada hari ini. Okey, saya nak tanyalah soalan ni kepada saudara Gan Jianji. Okey, anda merupakan bekas pelajar Fakulti Kejuruteraan dan Alam Bina. Jadi, apakah cabaran terbesar yang anda hadapi sepanjang anda ni menjadi pelajar FCAP ni? Dipersilakan.
Ya, sebelum saya kongsi, saya nak double confirm dekat sini semua first year ke atau ada yang bercampur-campur dengan second year dengan third year?
Campur-campur.
Oh, sini campur-campur lah.
Campur.
Okay, then I can go through with deep a bit regarding on my study plan. Okay, so I think semua benda ni, maybe soft skill ni semua orang pernah dengar lah. So the paling simple thing yang memang perlu ada adalah time management dengan planning. So macam mana kita nak plan dengan betul dan buat guna cara ni dengan boleh hit you punya target. Kita pun selalu dengar kan orang cakap, oh ini soft skill, time management, planning, or ada apa course, kursus pergi belajar. Yeah, that is good actually for learn, but how you want to execute in your life and how to use in your planning, right? So basically, actually everyone is very fair now. Everyone is only have 24 hours. Okay, semua orang ada 24 jam. So basically kita boleh separate the masa jadi 8 hour lah. Okay, so masa dulu kita belajar, kita follow schedule kan, schedule sekolah. So tapi dalam study dalam universiti kan, so is on your time management. So kita pun boleh nampak kita punya kuliah pun maybe 2 jam, 1 jam. So in between the hour, that is your time. How you want to manage your time to do the thing that you wish to approach to. So macam kita sini ada gamer ke? Sini siapa main Mobile Legend? Ramai tak?
Saya rasa ramai je main ni.
Ramai.
Ramai.
Ya, so nanti add ya, saya pun gamer, okay? Tengok saya pun main, saya pun is a Mythic Glory punya level. So how to manage the time, how you want to play, and how you want to active, and at the same time how you want to manage your study, right? So is how you want to like time every time kan kita ada like few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So how you want to squeeze your time to do the something. So basically I want to share is on your mindset readiness. Okay, so apa yang you target by today, target by this week. So you boleh buat satu term mindset readiness for short term and long term. So maybe in short term, maybe you can tell yourself, okay, by this week, maybe you got apa yang you nak belajar. Ini tak hanya untuk you punya coursework, you know. Apa benda yang you ingin nak belajar. Okay, contoh you nampak sebelah punya jabatan. Ni macam ada satu jodoh. So you plan, you want to meet with somebody. So you have to make the plan, you know. Dia takkan datang dengan yourself, datang sendiri. So you akan buat plan, by this week I nak macam mana. By next week nak macam mana. So you eventually you can plot the thing become longer, but how you want to make it smaller and each part. So yang paling senang punya benda is you make the short goal. When you make the short goal, even you can plan for 1 week or even 1 day. Like for myself, masa I masuk first year, I memang tak pandai untuk buat planning lah. I datang pun is a normal student. Okay, so and fakulti memang ada banyak aktiviti yang boleh ajar you on the skill. So just open-minded yourself, pergi belajar semua benda yang you ingin nak belajar as long as you interested. Okay, so just think like maybe first year, maybe somebody I datang is honeymoon. Okay, first year is honeymoon. Okay, I sincere to say if your first year you get your honeymoon, when you get your result is not high of the CGPA, during the second year or third year you want to hit back where it's very hard. Okay, just you can chill but don't be honeymoon. Okay, just ready apa-apa pun put the academic on the top. Okay, walaupun first year tak susah sangat tapi don't too honeymoon lah. Okay, so that is one of advice for the mindset readiness.
Okey, terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada saudara kaji Haji. Okey, banyak betul ya strategi yang telah beliau kongsikan tadi. Antaranya ialah have a good management and a good planning. Okey, jadi saya haraplah para peserta ni sempatlah untuk mencatat apa yang telah dikongsikan oleh panel kita tadi. Okey, seterusnya kita nak beralih kepada panel kedua kita, Saudara Gabriel. Okey, tadi kita dah dengar strategi pembelajaran dari panel pertama. Jadi saya nak tanya kepada Saudara Gabriel, adakah saudara juga mempunyai strategi pembelajaran yang berbeza daripada panel pertama tadi? Dan bolehkah kalau saudara jelaskan apakah perbezaan pembelajaran pada zaman saudara dahulu berbanding pada zaman sekarang? Dipersilakan.
Okay, thank you Saudara Gan for the sharing. So strategi pembelajaran saya lebih kurang je dengan Gan tadi. Macam bagi saya pengurusan masa tu penting jugalah. So di UKM ni sebenarnya satu perkara penting yang saya pelajari adalah pengurusan masa sebenarnya. So bagi saya satu cara untuk macam method GAN yang method GAN yang guna beza sikit dengan yang saya guna punya. Macam GAN akan buat short term planning kan dengan long term planning. So apa yang saya akan buat bagi saya pada minggu pertama setiap semester saya akan melukis perancangan masa saya selama 4 bulan punya macam per semester lah, one semester, and then in macam apa daily punya satu dekat atas kertas. I cannot, kalau for example kalau I nak buat dekat Google nowadays, orang buat dekat Google Calendar ke apa planner ke macam tu, tapi I always prefer to draw my own calendar lah yang ada saya punya lukisan tu semua. So from there you can actually sedia satu monthly timetable which contain all the tarik, the cuti ke everything dekat situ. So you can tend to see your planning more further lah. So from there, that's how I can manage my study and then at the same time involved with other meeting ke semua dari situ. Sebab from there I actually do a lot of plannings macam tengok which day I'm free to join competitions and bila yang tak crash dengan exam, and then bila I kena start study macam tu lah. So compare about yang perbezaan antara pembelajaran zaman saya sekarang dengan dahulu, actually I did have some difference lah, because at start, to be honest, my first year and second year, macam Gan cakap, okay, betul juga kalau we have to score very well during our first year lah, sebab when pointer you tinggi, nanti next semester lagi susah, you drop lagi sikit kan, lagi sikit lagi drop macam tu. So for me, first year, second year, I tend to be like quite chill jugalah actually. So macam mana cakap, so bagi saya, last time I didn't know doesn't really know how to manage my times in terms of my study and my meeting. So I always be full with a lot of meetings. Dekat malam, probably most of the nights I'm be occupied by meetings macam tu. So I only start my study after 12:30 p.m. at night. AM, sorry, macam midnight lah. So at that time, sometimes kalau ada orang cari you guna your WhatsApp ke, you scroll IG jap, dah pukul 2 macam tu. And then that time, you tak fokus sangat. So you nak pergi tidur. So for me, we have to manage that time between all the projects meeting ke dengan study very well lah. So what for example, last time, during my first and second semester, that is what I see, and then after that I start to make it more discipline. So you have to discipline yourself very well as well, so that you boleh tengok, okay, you nak control how much game masa you want to play game ke. Lepas tu you have to study, you have to make revision from apa yang lecturer ajar you. Probably you take just 1 hour to revise back what you have learned and something like that. After that you can buat benda yang you nak dah lepas tu. So and macam mana my cara pembelajaran juga. So for me, I think for me stress management is quite important jugalah. So sebab macam from first year until fourth year, I actually exercise lah almost every day. So dekat Tasik Kejut kan, ada tasik yang besar. So nanti universiti semua boleh pergi jogging situ lah. So I will exercise almost every day, sebab I think that's the only time that I can relax my mind. From morning you went to class semua, and then after that petang ni you ada satu gap untuk you sendiri, and then malam you start balik you kena involve with the organizations ke, your competition ke, or your friends ke, your project ke, semua macam tu. So that's how I distribute my time lah. So but everything is under control sebab I have that first semester timetable that I can see, and paling penting sebab I like travelling juga. So always I will plan my travel very well so that I can go to places then I can look from that timetable lah. Yeah, that's my sharing.
Terima kasih Saudara Gabriel di atas perkongsian perancangan pembelajaran yang sangat detail itu tadi. Saya sangat setuju dengan apa yang telah beliau katakan sebentar tadi. Okey, seterusnya kita nak beralih kepada panel pertama kita. Okey, kini boleh dikatakan pembelajaran sekarang ni sepenuhnya secara atas talian. Jadi saya nak tanyalah, bagaimanakah cara pembelajaran saudara Gan Jianji ni dapat disesuaikan dengan cara pembelajaran yang baru sekarang, iaitu secara atas talian? Dipersilakan.
Okay, actually saya approach dengan online learning masa sampai 4th year time lah. Okay, then actually I rasa semua orang sudah biasa kot untuk zaman sekarang sebab bukan saja untuk kita punya kuliah semua online, tapi kebanyakan kita pun ada belajar something dekat YouTube, belajar something dekat LinkedIn, Coursera, all this stuff right. So actually it should be the same that dia actually ada pro and cons lah. Tapi I can say the pro is on macam dalam kita kuliah kan. So maybe kita somebody is sitting at behind. So then kita tak boleh dapat informasi yang sangat jelas. Then kita nak tanya question pun susah. And the thing is the moment macam you tengah tak ada mood kan, you tengok tepi-tepi balik itu point sudah hilang. So online learning dia ada few kebaikan lah. So you boleh more straightforward to get the information sebab you memang depan screen. Then second thing is you nak tanya question pun senang. Then semua benda ada recording. Okay, tapi as student kan, so boleh lah kita share sikit pasal kita dalam belajar. Sometimes kita pun sometimes pun tak ada mood kan. So maybe kita duduk depan screen je tapi kita punya mindset pun tak ada dalam depan screen. So macam mana always I force myself to always focus dalam screen. So I just think like that. So okay, just let's say satu kuliah 1 jam. Okay, then that kuliah ada recording. Okay, but if you not focus on that class, so which mean you need to spend 1 more hours to tengok balik the recording. Betul tak? So apa yang I do, even I tak boleh fokus pun masa I memang tak ada mood, memang tengah santai lah. So I akan buka satu notebook letak tepi. So apa yang I catat adalah catat isi kandungan. Okay, so just catat okay, so hari ni maybe Dr. Iskandar sini kan. So maybe Dr. Iskandar tengah ajar chapter apa, dia maybe topik apa. So as you, kalau you tak boleh catch up apa yang sebab kita masih tak ready kan. So just take note apa yang dia isi kandungan 1 apa, 2 apa, 3 apa. So the moment you want to see back the video you pun tahu at which part you boleh tengok balik the video. So ini is how you can shorten your time for learning. Okay, so eventually even until now macam I sudah start dalam kerja kan. So actually our learning time also very limited. So you see every morning we go for work, then come back work, you see pun sometimes sudah pukul 7, pukul 8 kan. So how you want to manage get the time to continue learning? So apa yang I selalu buat, I pun akan pergi cari the isi kandungan dulu. Then I pecah the isi kandungan, become which part I want to focus on. So maybe hari ni you rasa hari ni memang saya tak ada mood lah. Okay, you can leave it, but on next time you want to sambung, you tahu apa yang you nak sambung. Or even every single subtopic you pun boleh set satu date. Okay, so macam contoh sekarang my company ada subscribe dengan LinkedIn. Okay, so I pun start, even I tak ada masa pun, I pun akan start the time, maybe one day spend like half an hour. So apa I pun pergi tengok sikit. So maybe macam contoh lah, this week I very packed on my time. So I memang tak ada masa. So I will postpone my thing directly all to the Saturday. So because I using LinkedIn kan. So after LinkedIn you boleh dapat satu cert punya. So I will use the cert become my milestone. So I target by these few months apa yang I perlu belajar. So even apa yang I belajar ni pun akan implement dalam apa yang pembelajaran saya. Okay, so yang I boleh share dekat sini is your mind pun is your mindset readiness. Okay, so it is your target you want to moving forward to until which level.
Okay. Terima kasih saudara Gan Jianji di atas penjelasan tadi. Okey, tadi saya nak ulaskan sedikitlah yang bahawa kalau kita belajar secara online learning pun ada pros and cons sendiri. Maksudnya contohlah kalau apa yang telah diberitahu oleh saudara Gan tadi, kalau kita tak fokus dalam kelas, kita boleh tengok balik recording kan. Macam tu. Tapi keburukan online learning ni adalah menyebabkan pelajar ni dia tak bersemangat. Maksudnya dia macam malas nak join kelas macam tu. Tapi sebab itulah bagi saya, kita sebagai pelajar ni tak kisahlah whether kita ni online learning ke ataupun pergi belajar secara fizikal ke, yang penting kita mestilah ada satu mindset yang mana kita ni, matlamat kita sebagai pelajar adalah untuk menuntut ilmu. Okey, seterusnya kita akan beralih kepada panel kedua kita. Okey, saudara Gabriel ni merupakan bekas pelajar FCAP. Jadi apakah cabaran terbesar yang saudara pernah hadapi dan bagaimanakah saudara berjaya mengatasi cabaran tersebut? Dipersilakan.
Okay, thank you Saudara Asma. So about cabaran terbesar, sebenarnya banyak cabaran terbesar ni. So okay, yang paling terdekat lah about this pandemic, semasa this COVID pandemic lah 19 ni. So because bab yang ni FYP ni kena buat online kan, so this is actually quite a big challenge lah for my uni life as well. Sebab for example when your lab, for example when my FYP is about something that saya perlu masuk ladang kalau pasal UKM, so it is kind of tough sebab macam data tu tak boleh collect ke semua ke, and then you tak boleh jumpa pensyarah you untuk nak tanya about how things works, how are you going to do, and paling penting, when you are far from all your course mates and also from your lecturer, you dekat rumah sendiri dengan family you. So it's very hard to focus as well sebab macam you punya katil tepi ke, so sometimes even class pun you tak boleh fokus sangat. So macam mana lah dengan yang ni FYP kan. So it's something about you have to push yourself very hard lah. So how I overcome this, to be honest, I push myself very hard lah. So at the same time, lucky to have a lot of friends yang macam memang masa I sangat down ke sebab pun busy dengan competition yang lain ke semua, or some of the projects ke yang under club buat kan. So I akan just sometimes when I'm very down, this is something yang you all boleh buat jugalah. Jangan keep it on yourself. I just talk to my friends yang macam my setiausaha last time. So yang ni Siti Balkis, dia memang supportive sangat. Dia memang akan macam even midnight ke, macam pukul 1 malam, 1 AM in the morning I call her, dia akan pick up and then dia akan give me a lot of motivation ke, something like that. So you guys need to find very good friends as well that can give you guys support and all the time lah. So the second one is about, again, macam cabaran terbesar is my time management as well. Sebab dia bukan sangat busy about in my degree life lah when I handling club macam ni. Tapi when you have, for example, student FCAP kan, memang banyak memang nanti akan banyak dengan project ke semua macam tu, and then you are handling club as well at the same time. So when I have too much meetings, again, I tak boleh fokus lah sometimes about my studies. So I have to try very hard to make a point that I have to, some part I have to leave, and some part I have to like give and take lah. So when you betul-betul it's time for you to focus on your study, then you cannot focus lah. So when you have to focus on something else, then you have to make the best on there lah. So it's something like macam if you are not willing to take the risk to risk the usual, then you will have to settle for the ordinary lah. So macam a lot of responsibility as well, which is kind of the big challenges for me as well. For example, masa I jadi president for my student club for electrical electronics engineering kan, so we organize one of the first mobility program yang from FCAP punya for students lah. So it is kind of tough as well sebab kita buat funding tu dari kosong, and then manage to bring nearly 25 of the students lah dari JKIS situ di Taiwan. So it's quite a very a big challenge as well that I took. Then when my club advisor told me that Gap, so tahun ni you nak buat mobility program tak? I said okay, so take the challenge, so you just do it, and then push yourself, manage your time wisely, set a date that macam setiap minggu Rabu ke you buat meeting. So actually you can just manage to make the whole plan work lah. And lagi satu, masa for example masa I handle KAI ini kan, dia tiba-tiba during the half of the year it goes into COVID. So me and my team, we already have the plan lah, the whole year plan about what we want to do, what we want to give for the students. So all of a sudden masa this COVID hits, so we have to transform lah the whole things, that the whole plan from physical to digital. So we start to organize webinar yang at first we start to organize webinar yang boleh menolong students in terms of the T&L learning lah, teaching and learning punya. We organize some of the macam alat pembelajaran dari Dr. Hadi from Meki, and also at the same time we want to help those entrepreneurs as well, all the students who want to generate extra income. So we organize something like Embracing Digital World as a technopreneur from Prof. Nurgaini, also from one of the professors from our FCAT juga lah. So a lot of lectures actually at this time they help as well lah, help me and help the club on and help the students on how to transform and to make it better lah during this COVID period of times. So this is one of my challenge as well lah during my uni life, and how I overcome it. So actually it's very lucky for me as well that sebab ada kawan-kawan dengan lecture yang sangat supportive lah, especially juga Dr. Iskandar who is one of my my advisor juga untuk so very lucky to have them. And then most important, we have to be very disciplined lah, and keep pushing ourselves. Sebab sekarang you guys dah boleh balik campus kan, so should be okay lah. Boleh group study terus ke, boleh meet up your friends directly to discuss on everything macam tu. Okay, thank you.
Okay, tadi kita pun dah dengar lah cabaran-cabaran yang telah dikongsikan oleh saudara panel kedua kita ni, iaitu beliau juga mempunyai masalah juga untuk fokus dalam pelajaran, tapi beliau juga ada masalah, maksudnya ialah ketika pandemik ni memang semua orang memang menghadapi masalah. And sebab itulah saya nak kongsilah satu kata-kata, iaitu genggam bara api biarlah sampai jadi arang. Biarlah kita bersusah dahulu, berkorban dahulu, yang penting untuk kesenangan masa hadapan. Terima kasih saudara Gabriel. Seterusnya, okey, kita nak beralih kepada panel pertama kita, saudara Ganjian J. Okey, saudara merupakan pelajar yang aktif dalam bidang co-curriculum maupun kurikulum. Jadi bagaimanakah saudara dapat menyeimbangkan kedua-dua perkara tersebut? Maksudnya saudara ni dapat fokus dalam pembelajaran dan pada yang sama saudara ni boleh melibatkan diri dalam co-curriculum tu. Dipersilakan.
Okay, thank you. I rasa bukan I je, I rasa Gabriel pun sama. Dia memang seimbangkan semua benda. I think semua yang coming to the third year, fourth year semua akan try to adapt on the situation, like how to manage with activity and also curriculum. Dan ada satu lagi benda adalah citra. Okay, so banyak benda dia perlu handle lah masa coming to the second year or third year. So instead of cakap apa strategi, maybe I can share my way how to adapt myself in the situation. Okay, so masa first year, masa I join I pun is a fresh newbie. Okay, so I sini ada tinggal Zabah ke semua Zabah?
Saya Zabah.
Okay, Zabah pun satu college yang besar, dia pun ada banyak event. Okay, so masa first year saya sudah pinpoint jadi director of program. Okay, so masa first year I pun sudah very busy on study and also for activity. And for you guys information, I'm pure bio student. Okay, master STP. So masa I joining first year, saya even the simple equation V equals to IR saya pun tak erti sangat. Okay, so masa first year for me is quite tough. Okay, so masa tu I pun ada meet with few doctor lah for the advance. So Prof Kalai, saya pun ada jumpa dia. Dr. Iskandar saya pun ada jumpa. Saya punya mentor, saya pun masa tu ada tanya pendapat lah masa first year untuk carikan direction. So I can say first year is to open-minded yourself. Don't like, because you see the first year I datang kan, I'm a very pure bio student. So masa I belajar tentang physics punya benda I very stuck, you know. So that time I pun is open-minded to learn all the thing. And the moment that time, because maybe during I study, I maybe semua masa dalam pembelajaran kan. So masa pun directly pinpoint jadi event director. So I will talk to myself. You currently you got a representative for yourself untuk handle all this thing. Okay, so I tell myself is just don't give up. Okay, just learn for 4 years. So my first year is coming to try everything, just explore. Okay, so my first year memang banyak benda saya for me is new. Maybe for other like physics student is very chill, but for me is a bit tough lah because I start with very minor knowledge of the physics. So I also wish to thanks my friend lah, yang semua kawan memang ada tolong aja saya. Even my roommate, okay, my roommate is same as engineering, dia pun ada tolong saya banyak. Okay, so during first year I more on the exploration. Okay, just open-minded to learn everything. Okay, because you also don't know what is your direction, so you just open mindset. So just try and error. Oh, sini pergi sini. So banyak lah saya ada join banyak benda untuk learn. So masa first year I pun sudah belajar. Masa first year saya tak erti design. Okay, saya tak erti graphic design. Then during the time during I run event, saya macam banyak orang tak erti graphic design. Then even event needed. So I pun pergi explore lah, buka YouTube. Masa sem break I pun belajar. So masa tu actually I'm very minat on the graphic design. Okay, so on first year I sudah belajar graphic design. And first year semua ada itu kan, keusahawanan punya khusus kan. So that time I'm the champion for the poster design. That is my first product and I won. Okay, so yeah, so that is learning. So how you want to go to the strategy, you know. The strategy is like you minat to go through. Okay, so first year I sudah jumpa, okay, I sudah explore a lot of things. So moving forward to the second year, I'm moving forward on my direction. So masa second year I pun ada peluang untuk jadi eksekutif pelajar. So masa tu I pun handle on the management punya benda, leadership. So masa tu I pun is learning, and masa tu is my paling peak punya time lah sebab I handle the entire college. I handle the Indian and Chinese club. Then at the same time pun ada second year punya kursus punya course sebab masa tu pun start dengan lab kan. Kita electrical ada lab kan. So kita pun banyak masa tengah pack lah. So yang apa strategi yang dekat situ is your personal target. If you really wish to learn sampai tahap macam mana pun, you akan pergi manage you punya benda. Even you tak boleh manage pun, you akan okay, I will sacrifice something. Like just now Gabriel said, and give and take kan. So apa yang I give away is my time for sleep. Okay, don't be like me. Okay, don't be like me. Masa I paling peak punya masa, I tidur pukul 3, bangun pukul 6. Okay, only for that week. Okay, after that week, then weekend I tidur kau terus tidur dari pagi sampai petang bangun, 1 minum tidur lagi. Don't be like me. Okay, just balance your life. Okay, the moment I become very aggressive because a lot of things I boleh jumpa apa yang I belum belajar during that time because I can see my direction. Okay, so during second year is I approach myself on the direction. Okay, but at the same time, please cover your study. Okay, just maintain your study. Okay, not going to if you can hit the 100%, then just go ahead. But I am not the kind person to hit the 100%. Okay, I'm hitting the 85% macam tu. So as long as you are A, okay, okay. So I just interested to learn. Okay, I belajar pun interested to learn. Okay, so masa second year is more on the direction. So first year is explore, second year is direction. So third year is implementation. Okay, my implement then masa tu is I pun dapat opportunity to jadikan MVP. So masa tu I pun jadi MVP pun handle banyak benda lah. Then I pun dapat the few exchange program. Just now you mentioned I also become the ambassador of Chiba for the tourism. So actually all of this is based on your personality, you know. You don't need to think, how I want to find this opportunity, how I want to get this. The moment that you ready yourself, like I built myself is on the second year. Second year I built the skill that I wish to learn. So I just explore a lot of things kan. So apa yang I jumpa yang I nak learn. So the moment you sudah build siap, masa third year, the opportunity will come to you. Okay, then definitely you're open-minded want to accept or not. Okay, so for me, I okay one. So I pun try. So masa third year I pun still try. So try the new things, more belajar. So I can say third year is more on the implementation, and that time also got the internship. So during that time, during internship, I more to understand what the company needed. Okay, what the apa yang syarikat yang perlu. Okay, so I can say in the current zaman, memang engineering is moving to one stage of everywhere is moving on the innovation. Okay, so during yang siapa yang ongoing to the internship, so just go ahead for. I think a lot of the company is taking for intern and do a lot of projects, and even current my company also taking a lot of intern and all is doing on the automation with me. Okay, because my current position is a project and automation engineer. Okay, so banyak pun is moving forward to this direction. Okay, then masa fourth year sebab masa you sudah balik intern kan. Okay, sebelum you masuk kerja, you ada 1 tahun untuk belajar apa yang you ingin untuk belajar. Okay, so during that time, you boleh strengthen you sendiri punya skill untuk that year. Okay, you apa yang you masuk company, or you boleh rasa, okay, kalau you memang dapat opportunity you balik this company, apa yang you nak belajar. So you got a one year untuk study, you know. So kalau you sudah masuk kerja baru nak study, is a bit very hard you get the time. So masa tu lah I planning masa fourth year I focus on my academic, I study, but at the same time I explore apa skill yang you nak. Okay, so masa tu I pun sudah masuk kerja, then itu pun is masuk balik kerja yang saya yang sekarang. Then afterwards I moving to this automation engineer, then until now. Okay, so if you say the strategy I more prefer is how the growth that you plan yourself. So like first year I explore, second year I make on direction, third year I on the implementation, and fourth year is on the focusing. Yeah.
Input-input yang sangat bermanfaat yang telah dikongsikan oleh panel kita tadi. Okey, saya haraplah para peserta kita ni dapat take note lah dengan apa yang telah disampaikan oleh panel kita tadi. Seterusnya, kita nak beralih kepada panel kedua kita. Okey, seperti semua sedia maklum, saudara Gabriel ni bukan saja bijak dalam pelajaran, malah beliau juga merupakan mahasiswa yang aktif. Jadi saya nak tanya, adakah pelibatan daripada segi kurikulum akan menjejaskan prestasi serta fokus dalam pembelajaran? Sebab saya yakin ramai pelajar ni, mereka mempunyai satu pemikiran yang di mana kalau mereka aktif dalam kurikulum, mereka rasa yang mereka tu tak mampu untuk fokus dalam akademik tu. Jadi apakah pandangan saudara Gabriel tentang perkara ini? Dipersilakan.
Okay, first thanks Gan for interesting sharing. So I totally agree with you lah, sebab macam opportunity doesn't happen kan, sebab you will create them. So actually about these questions, adakah pelibatan dari segi curriculum akan menjejas prestasi serta fokus dalam pembelajaran? So it's very hard to answer sebab student yang aktif dalam COCA doesn't mean that they never success in their life kan. Tapi for what I think is actually depends on different people lah, sebab core curriculum ni sebenarnya dia boleh mengembangkan minat you, bakat or your creativity ke, and at the same time it can develop your behavior as well lah. So come back to the questions, whether it will affects or not your educations. For me, I don't think so if you manage it well. So it still at last it still come back to you lah, whether how are you going to manage and how are you going to focus these things lah. Sebab you can be very active in your COCA, but last you kena fikir juga your your main purpose of coming to university is to success and graduate as a graduate lah. So you have to work hard as well in your academics at the same time performing your COKE. And so macam daya kepimpinan yang tubuh dalam diri pelajar-pelajar ni actually dia is affected lah by tahap inisiatif pembelajaran juga pelajar. So your rasa tanggungjawab is actually menjalankan tugas ke, or and most important thing, this yang if you involve in COKE, for example, it will train you as a very good leader as well. For example, macam kan, and rasa tanggungjawab untuk menjalankan tugas and the respect is also very important in uni life. So you have to involve in all these things in co-curriculum. Sometimes only you can get to learn and get to see what is actually happening and how are you going to develop yourself as a good team leader, and also how are you going to develop yourself and train yourself to be a good follower as well. Sebab tak semestinya tentu if you are very good in your studies that your behavior is very good. Maybe you're only very focused on studies and then you only know things from the book, for example. So tapi if you join a lot of co-curriculum, you get extra insights, you get extra knowledge that you can learn. For example, you guys can also join this UKM punya global, for example, UKM global ke, and macam Gan juga ada join UKM career. There's a lot of things that actually can develop students, and they are not that busy pun. So you guys can actually join club juga, macam join Pematra ke, join all the clubs under university to train you guys in terms of soft skill development, which is very important juga, and compared to studies. Okay, tapi at last, still don't forget lah, study is very you need to balance it back as well. Tapi kalau for example nowadays, for what I think, tak ada pun macam banyak company yang actually sangat fokus on your result. Very fokus punya tak ada. Even my friends yang tak dapat result sangat bagus punya, dia orang semua dah dapat kerja dah. So but most important things nowadays, you guys have to join as well, develop yourself in terms of those soft skills is very important lah, which going to when you get into community, get into society, they will look whether you can work in a team as well, or you can communicate with your boss or your superior. So this is the things that they want to see nowadays. Or your entrepreneurship skill, you can join Chessmate as well. Sebab macam sebelum ni dekat UKM, I join a lot of Chessmate punya events. And then I also join their pitching program ke, semua macam tu. So it's a lot of things that you can develop as well in your entrepreneurship skill. If you want to do business ke, you boleh make teams with those people that join the class, and then you can come up with some business ideas. So dia orang banyak juga activities yang macam buat business dekat perusahaan Eka, and then jual. I ingat lagi masa last time I jual green tea, teh hijau satun. So you guys can juga macam learn different kind of things other than study. Tapi those things macam kalau pergi kuliah punya masa, you have to go to class lah, bukan tidur dekat bilik ke or sembang-sembang dengan kawan. So those time if you want to go to class, you cannot focus lah. And then masa extra ni, you nak join all the co-curriculum, no problem, just go ahead. Yeah.
Terima kasih Saudara Gabriel. Okey, saya sangat setujulah dengan apa yang telah diperkatakan oleh beliau sebentar tadi. Nak fokus dalam akademik, tapi pada yang sama kita nak aktif dalam co-curriculum tu bukanlah perkara yang mudah. Jadi sebab itulah saya nak kongsilah satu kata-kata, di mana ada kemauan, di situ ada jalan. Jadi kalau kedua-dua panel kita ni boleh, jadi saya yakin peserta yang hadir pada malam ni juga boleh. Tapi bagi saya tak semestinya bila kita tak perform dalam study, kita ni akan gagal dalam hidup. Mana tahu dengan kita join co-curriculum tu, kita boleh develop lagi kita punya soft skill dan skill-skill lain. Okey, terima kasih. Seterusnya, kita akan beralih kepada soalan ni. Soalan ni agak panas dan agak menarik ya. Gaji yang sesuai ataupun kerja yang sesuai, manakah pilihan yang lebih tepat? Bolehkah saudara Gan Jianji ulaskan sedikit tentang perkara ni?
Okay, so gaji or interested, okay, so I can share, actually it depends on your interest. So I check out dulu apa yang konsep, nanti I baru jawab balik di soalan, okay? So actually it's based on you punya interest, okay? So apa yang you want to be learn, okay? So eventually you going for work kan? So you bukan terus pergi, you terus boleh jadi okay, terus jadi very expert, very apa. So you until you masuk, you pun is a learner. Okay, so basically we call junior lah. Okay, so you masuk pergi mana pun is a junior. So just see you guys yourself. You want to go wider, go deeper, or go higher. Okay, so for example, sini ada electrical punya student kan. So let's say electrical student, you want to learn more regarding on the electronics. You want to learn more on the coding. You want to learn more on the programming. Okay, just go ahead. Ini is going to wider. Okay, so what is deeper? So contoh, sini ada mechanical punya student kan. Okay, so contoh macam my company is on the robot arm sekarang. Very hot topic is a robot arm. So you want to learn how to the robot arm mechanism, what is the stability of the machine, what is the stability on the moving robot, okay? So all this is going to deeper. So actually it depends, you want to go wider or go deeper. Okay, go higher definitely you know lah, become the manager, okay, become the boss level. Okay, so if you ask me how to choose the first job, okay, how to choose so just for me, just choose, okay, just choose because yang apa yang kerja yang you pilih tu tak semestinya you punya long life is that job only, okay. You pun selalu dengar ada orang tukar kerja, tukar. So the first job that you choose it depends apa yang you needed. Ada two path. Satu, you want to get stable. So I sudah dapat kerja ni, I mati pun nak dalam this company. Okay, so kalau you macam tu, you perlu pilih satu company yang you really interested. Okay, so kalau you memang interested on that, then you tak boleh lagi tengok on the gaji lah, sebab you really want the thing that you want to learn sampai mati. Okay, this is one of the path. The second path is like you just go learn. Okay, just go the direction is still on your side yang you nak learn lah. Takkan you electrical tapi you pergi IT. Okay, you takkan electrical you nak pergi meka, betul kan? So depends, kalau you memang suka meka, why not you electrical pergi meka. Okay, depends apa yang you nak learn. So if you ask me, you going to everywhere, any position, you still learning. So contoh, you are electrical, okay, you going to HR, boleh ke? The answer is yes, as long as you minat. Saya ada satu kawan, okay, I tak boleh share dia punya nama lah, okay. Saya ada satu kawan, okay, sekarang pun kita adalah classmate, dan sekarang dia jadi saya punya HR. Okay, so dia memang minat dalam HR. So masa dia dapat HR, wah, dia very excited, you know. Okay, so walaupun dia punya gaji tak macam engineer so high, tapi dia very excited sebab dia dapat HR. Okay, so ini yang dia sebab dia minat. Okay, so for some point of the engineer, memang engineer ada banyak path, you know. Okay, so kalau you nak learn the experience, so as long as dia tak destroy you punya principle, you sendiri punya principle, okay, then you boleh go ahead. So apa contoh apa yang principle yang you target? Okay, contoh some people punya principle, I want to work in office hour only, 9 to 5. Tapi you dapat punya kerja is 9 to 9. Is it break your principle? That is break your principle, right? So is that break your principle? You boleh fikir, yang you nak kerja ini ke tak. So if you ask me, you want to prefer gaji or prefer on the experience, so it depends, you want to go smooth or go for experience. Okay, I pun boleh share sikit sendiri punya privacy information. Okay, so I kerja masa I dapat the position, masa tu I ada dapat a few offers. Okay, ada few offers lah. Ada satu offers is very interested for me to go for learn. Okay, I suka vision. You know vision? yang vision untuk belajar something kan, learning, like creator sekarang pun ada 360 view semua benda. It's satu very interesting thing. Tapi itu tempat very jauh. Okay, it's very far. Then it's a research punya company. Okay, and the second company is application company. Okay, dia tak kaji tapi dia application. Okay, so the moment that I talk to myself, I want to explore more. I want to go wider because saya pun satu kaki programmer. Okay, so I pun suka buat coding. I pun suka lepas I buat something ada implementation. So I choose implementation. Okay, which is my current company. Okay, so then I choose the application, then I start kerja. Okay, masa I kerja is memang very tough. Okay, because it's not I really familiar with benda, so I just learn. So until one of the level, mereka boleh perasan, oh you punya behavior or moving forward on the research thing. So even my company, they got something like want to start research. And even now, I'm moving to the automation engineer and moving on the research team. Okay, so how you want to manage, right, is just don't scare that you do the action. Okay, the thing is after you take the action, if go better, then okay. If the moment you get worse, how you want to recover yourself? Okay, ada orang okay, I going down, benda yang I tak smooth, I semakin down, I semakin nervous, very furious, kenapa lah I pilih ni, kenapa, blame. Okay, don't blame. Okay, during you get worse, then you have to think how you want to recover yourself. So you want to change the company or what? So just even first year joining to the company, just bring the attitude like open-minded to learn. Okay, but really go back to the question, kalau sini ada 4th year or 3rd year punya senior, I call you senior lah, okay, 3rd year, 4th year, okay, ada yang dekat sini, I not really know what you're interested on what category. Apa yang I suggest, you boleh jumpa you punya mentor. Okay, you punya mentor pun sudah tahu you for few years time, also know your academic, also know your style. Okay, they also can advise on your direction. I also got always every year I got a review. Even until now, I pun ada keep in touch with my mentor. Okay, and also Dr. Iskandar is a good director to give you the correct direction because Dr. Iskandar memang ada more on the experience on here. Okay, so even you want to message me also can, for you want to ask for some information. Okay, so don't everything you don't keep yourself, you know. Okay, you sharing, you ask, then you can get the feedback of the answer. Okay, so back to this question, you want to choose money or you want to choose your interest? So back to the thing is, you want smooth or you want experience? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada saudara kan tadi. Saya sangat setuju dengan apa telah diperkatakan oleh beliau tadi. Sebab bagi saya, bila kita nak pilih kerja tu, benda pertama yang kita perlu tengok adalah minat. Sebab bila kita pilih kerja yang kita minat, walaupun kita banyak masalah, walaupun kita stres dengan kerja tu, tapi kita enjoy the process. Okay. Ini, kita akan beralih kepada panel kedua. Okay, ramai cakap peluang pekerjaan dalam sektor kejuruteraan ataupun arkitek ini adalah sangat terhad. Jadi saya nak tanya, adakah pernyataan itu benar? Dan kalau benar, apakah langkah-langkah yang perlu diambil oleh pelajar untuk memastikan mereka ni berjaya mendapat tempat di dalam peluang pekerjaan yang terhad tu? Dipersilakan saudara Gabriel.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the questions. Okay, so bagi saya actually peluang pekerjaan bagi sektor kejuruteraan atau arkitek ni actually bukan sangat terhad lah. Actually there is a lot of job opportunities out there, tapi macam kan cakap kan, it actually depends on your interest atau you want to go for money. Okay, so come back to my opinion about just now, for example Gan punya sharing related to this question kan. So actually I would already be colleagues with Gan actually if I choose to go into his company, sebab I dapat juga tempat kerja dekat situ. Tapi at last I give up on that job opportunities which is a very good pay, and I go for a lower one yang which I betul-betul minat lah. Sebab what I think is I see how my future will go in somewhere where I'm more interested in, macam tu. So I tend to, sebab macam I like to see, for now that I'm actually not a full being employed yet, tapi I'm joining a graduate program lah yang under one of the oil and gas company. So it needs to take 1 year time for me to learn and get to know all these things and about what is the safety and also the importance of how to maintain the whole plant in the oil and gas sector. Actually, there's a lot of job opportunities that I see from all my classmates and from other friends from different courses as well. For example, kalau chemical nowadays they orang go for process engineer ke, or go for there's different ways that you can go. Tapi if come back to the question, how if you didn't get a job, for example, so apa langkah yang terbaik yang you guys boleh memastikan that you can get a job, can secure a job in the future? So I can share a bit how actually I and some of my friends or they secure a job lah in the future. So you need to, instead of you just for example your CV, your resume or your CV, you need to polish them. Bukan just macam very simple or and dull punya paper lah. So you in terms of polishing them, you have to have some soft skills. You need to involve in all the activities or all the projects that you got in your class lah. You just write it down macam OEL yang budak chemical semua. Just tulis write inside all the competitions ke, Robocon ke, everything. You just write inside, and then you need to showcase of what you have done, what knowledge you got to the interviewer. That's how you can secure a job. And I think this is not a problem for UKM students sebab most of them will actually get a job. And then for example, kalau in terms of for budak arkitek kan, I pun, if you guys ada nampak senior you guys, siapa ni, Afini, dia pun I nampak from his IG, he's also doing quite well, that he got a lot of interviews online ke semua macam tu. He's also a very good architect as well. So macam Gan cakap, if you guys feel lost, go and approach your lecturers. Sebab when I got some job opportunities dekat Penang and also dekat KL, I cannot decide, and now I'm in Sarawak, so I cannot decide that because I've been living 7 years dekat West Malaysia kan. So I'm thinking whether betul-betul I nak datang balik Sarawak ke tak. So and I really cannot decide. So I ask my lecturers. So my lecturers give me a lot of opinions, and it last come back to me. So what if you're going to regret that you didn't take that opportunities, then you have to think wisely lah. So I think, and then I rasa I will regret if I didn't take the opportunities that I got in Sarawak right now. So that's why I come back. So compared to peluang pekerjaan ni actually is a lot, but depends whether you guys actually what path you guys want to choose lah. For example, kalau gaji and kerja yang sesuai. So sometimes people tend to just being, for example, dia orang nak stable life kan, nak kahwin in the future. So dia orang will go for a stable life lah, sebab dengan gaji yang stable and then slowly going up so that you can feed your family. Tapi if in terms of different people, different personality, some people tends to want to take challenges and they don't mind to just go for low pay first, and then but go for the interest path, the path that they're interested in. So go forward and challenge yourself. Sebab I think that is not bad as well. Sebab you won't jump the job so frequent that you can learn more and more detail in it, and then you can stay, and then when you think that you want to learn something else, and then you jump. You be tempat lain, you belajar. This is something that I learned from the current CEO from Berjaya Times Square as well. So he shares some things like there is people that ever ask him, is it wrong that you do job hopping? He said it's actually not wrong, but because he himself he also jumped a few jobs throughout his career path, and then he learned, and he get a lot of insights from there and develop how he is as a person right now. So for me, there is no secrets to success as well. It's the result of your preparations, your hard work, and also learning from the failure lah. So, okay, thank you very much.
Okey. Perkongsian yang sangat menarik daripada panel kita tadi. Jadi, saya haraplah para peserta kita hari ini dapatlah sedikit sebanyak maklumat yang telah disampaikan oleh para panel tadi. Jadi, sebelum tu saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada para panel kita kerana sudi untuk meluangkan masa berkongsi ilmu dengan para peserta kita. Okey, maka selesai sesi forum pada hari ini. Seterusnya, okey, kami nak adakan sesi soal jawab. Jadi mana-mana pelajar yang mempunyai sebarang soalan bolehlah type dekat ruangan chat ataupun boleh buka mic. Dipersilakan. Para peserta yang nak tanya soalan ke, bolehlah buka mic ataupun boleh type dekat chat. Para peserta kita, adakah nak tanya apa-apa soalan? Okey, kami ada soalan daripada saudara Nasrullah. Okey, dia tanya lebih baik sambung master atau PhD ataupun kerja mencari pengalaman. Okey, mungkin saudara Gan bolehlah jawab soalan ni.
Okay, good question. Okay, if you ask me, actually ini pun it depends on the person, but I can say if you got that work experience before you going for the further study is better because you know what is the current market challenge and what the requirement. Okay, so for your information, currently I am also working for 1 year plus approach to 2 years working environment, and I just go through the interview and I will continue my study. Yeah, so currently I already work for 2 years, then I can see what is the research gap in between what. Okay, masa you masuk dalam kerja kan, it depends on what company. My company is on the application company, it's a manufacturing company. So most of the thing is on the application. But during the application, my position is automation and project engineer. So I can see what is the limitation of the. Sometimes we kaji something, but the thing is in the ideal case. Okay, the moment you want to implement in the production, it definitely got some challenges. So how you want to improve the situation into the real situation. So that is what I found in between the research gap. Okay, so kalau you nak terus sambung master pun boleh, sebab you pun rasa kalau you ada benda yang you nak terus sambung untuk belajar, okay. Like for me, I am person like I prefer with the experience first, okay. Because one of the challenge, this is the challenge that I see one of the person that sharing before lah, okay. I still remember in my mind, okay. Saya ada seorang is a very strong person. They already go through very high level until PhD level, but he don't have the working experience. Okay, then he not going to become the lecturer. Then masa tu dia nak pergi kerja kan, dia pergi Singapura. Okay, dia pergi Singapura nak cari kerja. Tapi dia punya education sudah ada PhD level. So masa dia pergi kerja, dia tanya dia punya working experience. Dia tak ada working experience, tapi level is PhD. Okay, so dia cakap, if I pay you PhD level, but I cannot achieve my company needed. Okay, so masa tu dia pun dapat a lot of the rejection, but finally also he can get what he want lah. But it depends on the situation that you will be facing. There are the pro and cons. Okay, if you ask my opinion, my personal opinion, better get the experience before, like me lah, get the experience and for continue study. But if you're really interested to directly continue study and you know what to learn, then just go ahead. I go to learn experience because I want to see what is the research gap in between study and also the implementation. Yeah, thank you.
Okey, terima kasih saudara Gan di atas penjelasan tersebut. Saya harap penjelasan beliau tu bolehlah menjawab sedikit sebanyak soalan daripada peserta kita ni. Okey, kini kita akan beralih kepada soalan kedua. Okey, ini adalah daripada saudara Ahmad Hambali. Okey, beliau saudara ni dia nak tahu kalau kita nak minta kerja, kita kena demand tak gaji tu? Ke ataupun kita just terima je? Maksudnya kita just terima je gaji tu berapa, maksudnya berapa yang bos nak bagi kita terima je. Mungkin saudara Gabriel boleh ulaskan tentang perkara ni?
Okay, so bab demand gaji ni depends juga. So you have you kena tengok lah which kind of industry are you in first. Okay, for example, kalau lah you grade as an engineer kan, for example, I use this example lah of my coursemate currently. For example, 5 of us we got into the same company. We got into the jobs offer in this company. Tapi out of 5 of us, 2 we got a higher salary and 3 got a lower salary. So what is the problem? So dia tengok juga actually some company dia depends on your CGPA, depends on your grade jugalah. So ada juga yang dapat engineer punya positions which is 3K and above. Ada juga yang dapat as technician punya position which is 1.8K and above. So it's actually quite a big gap. Depends on, but sometimes some company you cannot demand too much or else they will not take you. So agak-agak kalau around 2.5 ke and or around that basic salary of the first pay of the fresh grade, and you guys have to accept it lah and just gain experience from there and slowly it will rise actually. Yeah.
Okay, terima kasih saudara Gabriel. Okey, kini kita akan beralih ke soalan seterusnya. Ni daripada saudari Raihana. Okey, adakah susah untuk kita balance between study dan aktiviti lain during our first year? Mungkin saudara Gan boleh jawab soalan ni?
If you ask me, I definitely will be say, okay, because during I can say okay because my life sudah biasa dengan busy, even until I current work also, I will occupy my time. Okay, so if you ask my personal, I not really think if you can get the way that you manage by yourself, then should be okay. Okay, everyone pun ada sendiri punya cara untuk manage you punya masa. Okay, contoh, sekarang you pun ada sem break kan. Okay, you plan you want to go back home or you want to plan for any study or you plan to traveling with your friend. Okay, are you think the planning is hard to you? Okay, so it's the same thing like back to the thing, the upper yang you ready on the planning that you want, you know. Okay, I actually most of the thing I already forget how I plan because I already out of the first year and second year on the planning. Maybe I think this is more suitable with Gabriel. Gabriel, do you want to try answer this question?
Balancing between study and other activities during first year, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so for me, it's not that hard lah. Okay, let me give you some tips. So during your first year, what you have to do is you approach your seniors, most important thing, or more approach your seniors lah. Tanya dia orang, how some subject is actually very easy to score during the first year. For example, for electrical we have this circuit theory, for example. At first, all the first year we think is very hard. Everything is very hard. So what's the tips of doing it? So you just have to keep doing exercise actually for that subject. So what you have to do is you ask for your seniors, ask them how are you guys, how do they study this subject and what is the hard part of it, and you guys just keep practicing and by asking from seniors you guys can actually avoid a lot of mistakes and also from there lah. So actually it's not hard to try the balance, but it's all depends on you as well at last about your management in your time. If you can if you want to get involved in activities, make sure you manage it wisely, and then don't overdo it and you tidak fokus pula dekat study juga. So you have to focus lah, you have to balance, and in terms of studies, you can approach your seniors and ask them, get some tips from them and learn from there. Yeah.
Okay, terima kasih saudara Gabriel. Okey, seterusnya ni adalah soalan daripada saudara Muhammad Hafiz. Okey, skill apa yang kita perlu before we enter work industry? Maybe saudara Gabriel boleh ulaskan lagi tentang perkara ni?
Okay, so what skill do we need before we enter work industry?
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, what I see, okay, for example, let me give you some tips about my interview lah. For my internship. Okay, they will ask about some of the company macam Intel, dia orang akan ask about your technical skill. Dia akan ask about macam what you have learned in your uni, and then dia akan test you on your knowledge about it. So of course knowledge tu you cannot forget. Tapi the things that sometimes in working industry and the things that you learn is different juga. So you have to understand lah. So you need to have the academics wise punya knowledge for you to get into that working industry, for you to get a chance to get into to get a job placement. Tapi ada company juga, for example, Texas Instruments, dia orang akan more focus on your soft skill. Dia akan tanya you what projects have you joined, and then how you dia akan give you some conditions on about your kerja, on what's your obstacles that you have met when you are handling this project ke, macam tu you kena explain. You kena have this experience lah, things that you can tell, you can share. So those skills is about macam communication skill ke, your teamwork skill ke, your interpersonal skill, your intrapersonal skill, or either your entrepreneurship skill as well. So it depends on different people. For example, ada orang minat dekat industry entrepreneur, dia nak jadi entrepreneur in the future. So you can just go ahead with your entrepreneurial skill, you explore yourself there. If you minat dekat macam technology wise, you can join competitions. From there, you can develop as well your technical skill, and also your teamwork skill. Tapi most important things nowadays, industry are moving into automation wise. So you guys, if you have time, you guys boleh belajar juga coding dekat offline lah, sendiri dekat rumah at night. Sebab what things that uni teach you doesn't mean that sebab macam banyak juga student yang feedback macam, kenapa, sebab macam dalam pencara pelajar I join every year, ada student tanya kenapa FCAT punya program coding ni is outdated. Actually no, those things that they teach you is the basic, is the core of the whole brand macam tu. So you guys kena belajar dulu basic tu, baru you can explore more well and more deeper lah in different kind of programming language. So you guys, for example, budak Kemi, you guys want to explore more in SCADA ke something macam tu, you have to learn yourself. Budak Meki, you guys suka AutoCAD, you guys can explore yourself as well, buat some advanced punya macam video yang part tu boleh macam moving around macam tu. So it's something about for yourself to learn. And nowadays I'm moving into automation and also data science. So what industry needs is about how you see lah. You kena, for example, now I graduate as an electronics engineer, tapi I tak belajar data science. Tapi for now sendiri, I'm taking a nano degree program under for data science punya program. So you have to keep your pace, you have to keep learning lah. Macam budak, macam uncle auntie nowadays, dia orang tak buat lah, dia orang tak akan main TikTok macam tu. Tapi you have to adapt yourself on how the technology is moving. So you kena ikut lah, so that or else you'll be outdated. Macam tu.
Okay. Terima kasih saudara Gabriel. Okey, bercakap pasal coding ni, ada satu soalan daripada saudara Aiman Zamri. Boleh tak suggest platform untuk belajar coding ataupun programming ataupun kemahiran yang berkait dengan IR 4.0 bagi individu yang tak ada basic? Mungkin saudara Gan boleh jawab soalan ni?
Okay. currently I memang do a lot of the project for the automation and moving forward to the industry 4.0, and you will be quite interested what I using on currently. Actually, I also just do for the Arduino. Okay, so even I think sini yang ada electrical person memang dah familiar dengan Arduino lah. But how you want to moving forward the Arduino going to the next level, so you need to understand how using the Arduino doing for the automation. I think the key, I think like to answer just now Gabriel also sharing the previous question lah. So apa yang you nak sell adalah apa skill yang you ada, okay? So the skill that you wish to have. So if you, I can share about the current trend is on the automation. Okay, so even you're not you're using SCADA or you're using Python, you're using any languages that you can do that the thing we can auto do the decision making, or you can do for the monitoring, that all considered is automation. Okay, so apa platform yang suitable? Actually sekarang pun ada online platform, ada yang ada bayar, ada yang tak bayar kan. So apa yang I selalu belajar adalah through YouTube. Okay, you just need to find the keyword, like the keyword Arduino automation, auto door, okay, robot arm, okay, 3D printing. 3D printing sekarang also is one of the trend. Like my company is moving forward. Everyone have to learn about the 3D printing. Okay, so all the intern coming in semua very pandai on the 3D printing punya benda. So apa yang mereka nak, mereka draw, mereka print. Okay, so if you ask me 3D printing, where I can learn, okay, online software pun ada. Okay, even you want to buy the small itu 3D printer pun quite cheap. Okay, and I think the current FCAP pun ada 3D printer. Okay, so it's that you can explore your skill. Like Gabriel also mentioned, is very important thing, like memang kita, somebody will say our learning programming is very out of the date, but in the fact that apa yang kita learn adalah fundamental. Okay, so sekarang I pun tulis banyak program, tapi kebanyakan program is coming from the fundamental that apa yang I learn before. Okay, during first year I pun ada opportunity follow Dr. Kalai belajar Android Studio. Okay, so even my current company, you know the MySejahtera profile, okay, I buat satu checker guna Android Studio only. Okay, so this is all the skill that you want to build. If you really want to move directly to the current direction, I can suggest is on the automation. So what kind of the automation? Like robot arm, okay, then the AGV robot. Like every day you can see apa yang lecturer yang ajar sekarang is memang I can say is a trend is in the company that want to implement. Okay, and add on the pandemic of COVID-19. As long as semua benda kalau boleh tak nak orang, mereka pun tak nak orang. Okay, semua nak jadi automated. Okay.
Okay, terima kasih Saudara Gan di atas penjelasan tadi. Okay, jadi saya nak tanya, ada lagi ke soalan yang para peserta kita nak tanya ni?
Saya ke?
Ada lagi ke nak tanya soalan?
Hello.
Hello? Ya?
Saya
Dengar.
Okay, saya nak tanya soalan. Macam saya tahun 1 fakulti alam tak ada dalam bina. Macam kan kita orang ni baru 2-3 kan masuk UKM. Jadi saya macam tak ada semangat lagi lah macam nak betul-betul belajar dekat UKM. Jadi ada macam advice ke tips ke macam, sebab saya kan macam antara grad asasi dengan nak masuk ke UKM macam lama kan, jadi macam leisure, main game, tidur, macam memang buang masa lah kan. Macam ibu masuk ni dia macam culture shock jugalah, macam ada ke macam advice ke nak bagi mereka semangat saya balik.
Okay, terima kasih Saudara Arif Daniel. Mungkin Saudara Gabriel boleh jawab soalan ni?
Okay, tadi tu soalan dari Saudara Arif
Arif Daniel.
Okay, so isu you macam about macam culture shock kan, tarik asasi masuk uni. So actually to be honest, I I also have this culture shock when I enter UKM first year from diploma. Sebab I already have my friends, everything that I have developed, all the friendship and relations with lecturers and stuff like that. I boleh cakap the first year, I tak boleh cakap macam benci, UKM. Cannot say like that kan. Tapi it take me a long time to adapt. So it take me quite some time for probably 2-3 months to adapt, almost one semester lah. I cannot adapt sebab for example I masuk as a second intake and then dia orang dah ada geng-geng sendiri dah macam tu. And then I cannot adapt because I feel like macam dia orang lagi much younger compared to me lah. They are much younger compared to me, and then I cannot mingle around. The topic is not the same. So what I can say is we have to tune our mindset lah. So and most important things, you try to make friends. So when I try to make friends, and then macam ada dapat seorang 2-3 kawan, and then after that get close friends lah, then you don't feel like you are alone lah. You will have someone that can accompany you. So this one of these friends of me is there from chemical punya engineering. So we start to mingle around, and then we go lepak makan semua setiap kali. So he becomes one of my very good friend lah at that stage. So about macam education wise, sebab macam dekat asasi, dekat SPM ke semua is different from uni. So lectures dekat uni ni dia tak akan spoon feed you. So dia akan bagi tahu you semua barang yang dia ajar. Sometimes it actually doesn't come out from the exam pun. Totally different. So you have to be ready. You have to do self study. Macam bab, for example, dia ajar you bab 1 about A and B. Tapi you sendiri kena buka buku ke, e-book ke, Google ke, study dari from C to Z. You have to learn from yourself. Okay, and then kalau in term of culture shock ke, tak boleh tidur ke, main game semua midnight malam ke, you have to change lah. Kalau betul-betul you adapt to friends yang macam, sebab for example lah, budak engineering memang busy compared to budak for example other course in other faculty. Sometimes they are actually more relaxed, and then they are not that tense compared to faculty of engineering lah. So you guys have to have friends that can push you in study as well. But at the same time, kalau you nak main dengan budak-budak dekat college tu tak ada masalah. Tapi you have to have the friends lah, the correct friends that can push you and accompany you throughout your study journey 4 years in UKM lah. I hope that helps.
Okay. Terima kasih kepada kedua-dua panel kita tadi. Okey, maka berakhirlah sesi soal jawab kita pada hari ini. Okey, tapi sebelum tu, saya nak tanya kepada para peserta kita ni, korang masih ingat tak apa yang telah dikongsikan oleh para panel kita tadi? Sebab sekarang ni kita nak adakan sesi permainan untuk menguji ingatan para peserta. Tapi sebelum tu, para peserta diingatkan sekali lagi untuk mengambil gambar sebagai bukti untuk mengisi Google Form kehadiran yang akan diberikan sekejap lagi. Okay. Jadi saya nak tanya ni, para peserta kita semua dah bersedia ke? Kalau dah bersedia, sila tekan butang emoji dia banyak-banyak tu. Okay, lagi. Okay, nampaknya para peserta kita sudah pun bersedia. Jadi, okay, jom kita main games. Okey, soalan pertama. Mengikut biodata panel pertama, belia pernah menjadi duta pelancongan di sebuah negara. Nyatakan negara tersebut. Macam mana ni? Senang kan soalan ni? Siapa yang dengar, siapa yang fokus, siapa tak tidur, bolehlah jawab soalan ni. Okey, siapa-siapa nak jawab, bolehlah type dekat ruangan chat. Oh, okey, kita dah ada ya. Siapa tu yang angkat tangan tadi? Boleh buka mic ataupun boleh tulis jawapan dekat ruangan chat Oh, Nurul ni. Siapa ni? Daripada Nurul. Yon Chongkit. Okey.
Jawapannya Japan.
Oh, Japan. Okey. Betul ke tak betul? Okey, jom kita tanya panel pertama kita. Betul ke jawapan Jepun?
Almost there. Okay lah, can consider betul lah. Okay, the exact
betul. Okay.
Yeah, exact location is Chiba. Okay, Japan.
Okay. Okey, tahniah. Tadi siapa yang jawab Saudara siapa? Oh, okey, saudara Yon Chungkit. Okey, tahniah saya ucapkan kepada saudara Yon Chungkit kerana fokus sepanjang webinar kita ni. Okey, seterusnya. Ni adalah soalan terakhir Siapa yang tak jawab rugi dah. Sebab soalan ni kita nak bagi dah senang. Lepas tu hadiah kita nak bagi pun agak lumayan. Okey, soalan seterusnya. Apakah pencapaian yang diperolehi oleh pedal kedua pada tahun 2020? Okey. Para peserta boleh buka mic ataupun boleh type jawapan dekat ruangan chat. Cepat-cepat. Siapa paling cepat dia dapat.
Boleh saya cuba?
Boleh. Siapa tu?
Nama saya Muaz.
Okey, saudara Muaz. Okey, jawapannya apa?
Pencapaian yang diterima oleh saudara Gabriel is
Okey.
penerima anugerah tokoh FCAT.
Okey, betul. Okey, tahniah saya ucapkan kepada saudara Muaz. Okey, nampaknya pada peserta kita hari ini ni memang fokus hari ini. Maksudnya dia tak tidur. Okey. Tahniah saya ucapkan kepada semua. Okey. Perhatian kepada para pemenang. Anda diminta untuk sebarang tuntutan hadiah. Anda boleh mendapatkan nombor telefon AJK hadiah di ruangan chat yang telah disediakan di ruangan chat. Okey. Maka memandangkan semua pun dah penat kan. Esok pun kita dah ada kelas. Lepas tu kita punya forum pun dah berada di penghujung rancangan. Okey, jadi marilah kita bersama-sama mengambil gambar sebagai tanda kenang-kenangan. Jadi para hadirin dipersilakan untuk membuka kamera bagi memeriahkan lagi sesi fotografi pada hari ini. Jadi teknikal sila bersedia untuk mengambil gambar.
Okey, saya akan kira 1, 2, 3. Mohon semua sedia. Okey, kejap Lagi ramai buka kamera. Sekejap Lagi. Okey, ada lagi ke? Okey. Okey, saya kira 1, 2, 3. Okey, sekali lagi 1, 2, 3. Lagi. 1, 2, 3. Okey, thank you semua.
Okey, dengan berakhirnya sesi fotografi itu tadi, maka berakhirlah majlis kita pada hari ini. Saya Asma binti Abdul Wahab mewakili pihak Pematra bagi sesi 2021-2022 ingin mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada para hadirin kerana sudi untuk menghadiri webinar pada hari ini. Semoga ilmu-ilmu yang anda pelajari pada hari ini dapat diaplikasikan dalam kehidupan sebagai seorang yang bergelar mahasiswa. Sebelum saya mengakhiri majlis kita pada hari ini, terimalah 2 rakaat pantun daripada saya. Bunga seroja di atas para, jatuh ditimpa buah berangan. Andai kata tersilap bicara, kemaafan jua kami pohonkan. Melarik halus papan di Jawa, tersegam kukuh di gerban batu. Adat berjumpa, berpisah jua, moga ketemu di lain waktu. Perhatian kepada para hadirin, anda diminta untuk scan QR code kehadiran yang tertera di skrin ataupun anda juga boleh tekan link Google Form yang telah disediakan di ruangan chat. Sekian, itu saja daripada kami. Terima kasih dan selamat malam majlis bersurai.
Thank you semua. Have a good race.
Thank you
Terima kasih semua.
Thank you semua. Thank you panel.
Thank you so
Terima
much.
kasih panel kita hari ini.
Thank you panelists.
Thank you panel.
Thank you. Have a good rest. Thank you Asma. Is a good moderator. I suka you punya pantun.
Thank you.
That is your skill value added.
Saya nervous tapi terbaik hari ini okey.
Did a very good job.
Thank you.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Bye. Nanti datanglah UKM.
Ada. I will continue study. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye Gabriel.
Bye Gan. Bye Nurin.
Bye. Terima kasih.
Bye Asma.
Bye-bye, Gabriel.
Siapa ya?
Say my name. Maybe it's the way you play your game, but it's so good. I've never known anybody like you, but it's so good. I've never dreamed of nobody like you. And I've heard of a love that comes once in a lifetime, and I'm pretty sure that you are that love of mine. 'Cause I'm in a field of dandelions, wishing on everyone that you would be mine. And I see forever in your eyes. I feel okay when I see you smile.